Facebook Live to Go class. Today is Tuesday, May 6th. It's just after 2 o'clock. I was running a few minutes late because I had some technical issues I was resolving, but I'm so glad you're here with me. I am April Davis with April Davis Creations, and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I live in Spring Hill, Kansas. And Tuesday afternoons are my favorite time because I get to be with you. So if you are watching live, please do say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. I love it when you interact with me while I'm creating. And if you're not live, that's okay too. Just leave a comment after the fact and just say you were watching the replay. I love it when you stop by. So today is a big day. I don't know if you guys know it or not, but today is the day that our new 2025-2026 annual catalog goes live. We have been waiting for this for a long time, and so we're really excited to be able to share it with you. So I'm going to show you some things here in just a second, and then I'm going to have some posts tomorrow to give you some sneak peeks of some of the things that are in the catalog. So stay tuned for that. They will be on Facebook. But before we go there, I'm going to go ahead and do my part where I share my thank yous with you for sharing and liking my videos and commenting. So last week I had 2 winners. One was Cindy Kai, Kai, and Cindy, I'm still waiting for you to reach out to me so that I can send you your gift. You can reach out to me at aprildaviscreations@gmail.com, or you can send me a message on my Facebook page, but reach out to me so that I can get your contact information so I can send this to you. The other person that I'm waiting to hear back from is Barbara 8932. So Barbara, again, please do reach out to me because I want to be able to get your gifts from last week in the mail to you. This week, I have 2 new winners that I'm excited to share. So the first one is going to win a package of designer series paper and some embellishments, the matte black dots. And that winner is Carol Lindley, 672. Carol, thank you so much for liking, sharing, doing a comment. Just my way of saying thank you is to share a special gift with you because I appreciate it when you all do that. All right, so that's Carol. And then the other gift is going to be a package of the Sunny Spring cards and envelopes and a Starstruck embossing folder from our, this was during our celebration period. Anyway, this gift goes to Lala Crafts Phyllis 9315. So if you're Lala Crafts Phyllis 9315, please get in touch with me so that I can put your package in the mail to you. And again, thank you so much for sharing. All right, next, what do I want to share with you? I think I'm going to bring up my, where is it? Oh, I don't have it set up. Give me just 1 second, guys. I was going to share my screen with you because there's other things going on. Give me just a second. There's other things going on with Stampin' Up, and I wanted to be able to share those with you, and I actually have them on my desktop. So here we go. I'm going to bring this up. Starting today, Stampin' Up has a starter kit special. The starter kit specials are incredible. If you're not interested in building a business, not a problem. The starter kit special is for everyone, those who just want to be hobbyists and get their discounts. Anyway, from May 6th through the 31st, new demonstrators get $165 in product for only $99. That's incredible. That's $65 in free product. And there's no obligation. So I'm going to come back up because I want to be with you guys. And I just wanted to say that I love my Stamp About team. I don't know if you've heard me talk about my team before. We are the Stamp Abouts. And what are the Stamp Abouts? Well, remember that Bonnie Raitt song, Let's Give Them Something to Talk About? Well, we are the Stamp Abouts. Let's give them something to stamp about. I can't sing it. I would love for somebody to sing that jingle for me so that I can utilize it all the time and just push a button. But we are the Stamp Abouts, and we have a lot of fun. We meet monthly. We do challenge cards. We do make and takes. And it's just a fun community of like-minded crafters that get together and just share. So if you need more information, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. But that starter kit special is going on through the 31st of this month. The other thing I wanted to share with you is paper pumpkin. So I love paper pumpkin. I've been getting paper pumpkin for 3-4 years. I don't even know how many years I've been doing this. But every month, Paper Pumpkin is a subscription club, and it comes to your door for you to be able to make 9, 12 cards. Sometimes they're 3D items. The point is that the subscription period ends on May the 10th. It always ends on the 10th of the month. And I have partnered with 3 other ladies, and they're talented crafters. And we are actually providing an alternatives tutorial. So one of the fun things for me to do is to get my paper pumpkin kit. I make up, maybe 1 or 2, 3 of the cards that are in the kit, and then I go rogue. And I like making other cards out of it. And sometimes, maybe the kit's you're only there to make 12 cards, but when you go rogue and you start making alternatives, you can make 20, 30 cards. Anyway, so we have gone together and we have put together a tutorial that will be available every single month for free to Paper Pumpkin subscribers. So when you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber with me, you will get this tutorial, and it's 12 alternative cards. There's 4 of us, and we're each making 3 alternative cards. So you get a nice variety of cards. And then if you're not subscribed, perhaps you're a demonstrator yourself, but you're interested in the tutorials, I do have the Paper Pumpkin tutorial out on my tutorial store on my website. So you can go to the website, go to shop, and select the tutorial store, and it's there. But we're really excited. We just finished for April. This is that you're looking at right now is for May. Subscriptions are open through May the 10th, so you still have time to get this. And with Father's Day just around the corner, this is great for that. It's also great for the males in your family. We will be coming up with all kinds of alternatives, so it's not going to be geared just for Father's Day, but it probably will be more masculine, if you will. So I wanted to share that with you. Also, my subscription for my Crafting Happiness Club is open. It closes on May 20th. This is a clean and simple monthly card club where you make these 4 cards times 2, and it's delivered right to your door. So you get everything you need to create these cards. The only thing you have to have is the bundle. And out on my website, it goes into more information to share with you what bundle we're using for that particular month. And then I send you the kit. The kit includes $25 worth of product that you will be able to use, not just for these cards, but for cards going forward. So if you're interested in a monthly card club, this one's a fun one. So go to my aprildaviscreations.com and check that out. And then let me see what else I've got going here. Oh, I wanted to tell you about, is it going to come up? Let me take this down. There we go. I have got a 2025 Spring Fling event that is going to take place on May 17th. I am partnering with Connie's Craft Room and Kellyanne Crafts, and we have designed 4 cards from each of the new bundles from the new catalog. So we've got the Notes and Totes, we've got Cheers and Sips, and we've got Floral Impressions. And we're actually going live on May 17th on Facebook, and Connie's going to create her cards for you. I'm going to create my cards. Of course, I'm doing the Cheers and Sips, and then Kelly is going to create her cards with Floral Impressions. You're going to get a recipe for each of the cards, which tells you what supplies were used, what the measurements are, and everything. And then you're going to get a tutorial playlist that will show you specifically how to put the cards together. We're going to show you on Facebook, but it's not abbreviated, but we're going to go through. Each of us only have 50 minutes in order to be able to put 4 cards together. So we're going to go fairly quickly. We have a playlist that we've created where you will be able to go in at your leisure on your time and click on that playlist and put these cards together. So fun. So again, if you're interested, be sure to go out to my website. We do have an early bird special, and if you register, you'll receive an additional card and instructions how to put that together. All right, so what else do I want to share with you? Oh, perhaps I should share with you the cards that we're making today. Oh, before I do that, I'm so excited to share with you the new catalog. I have been showing you the new catalog from the outside. This is all we've been able to share up until today. But because the catalog is live now, I can go in and I can open this up and I can flip through it. If you guys have not seen this catalog, you are going to love it. And again, I'm going to give you some highlights tomorrow from several different bundles that I have had the chance to get. One of the perks of being a demonstrator is that you get early bird purchasing. And so I was able to get some of the early bird things that were available, and I want to show you what those are and the cards that were made from them. In the meantime, what I want to do is I want to share with you one bundle of designer series paper. Is this showing? There it is. There was a little bit of a delay. This is the designer series paper. It's a 6x6 pack. It's called Beautiful Gallery. Oh my gosh, this paper is gorgeous. I'm going to take myself down because I don't want to. Let me see if I can do this. Am I down? Yes. I don't want to be in the way of the paper. But fun paper. So pretty. I need to be able to share this with you because my Create Happiness Club, which is a monthly, or excuse me, bi-monthly club, this Create Happiness Club is going to be utilizing this designer series paper. So you're getting a sneak peek, not of the cards that we're doing, but of the paper that we're going to be utilizing. But look how pretty this paper is. It's just gorgeous. So sneak peek of this paper. And I wanted to share with you just a couple of cards. As demonstrators, we get together and we do what we call card swaps. And so I just got my card swaps in, and there were 2 cards in the swap that utilize this paper that I wanted to share with you. So here's one of them, and they use the designer series paper here, and then they also use the new Damask Designs embossing folder. So this card was created by Judy Cottrell. It's beautiful, and Judy, thank you for sharing in your swaps. The second one is this one. Look at how pretty this is. So simple and yet so elegant. And this was created by Jeannie Nielsen. Jeannie, this card is gorgeous. And she also used the Damask Designs embossing folder. So I'm really excited to design my cards for the Creating Happiness Club. Now that club, we just finished May. May just shipped. So because it's a bi-monthly club, the next one will go out in July. But we're going to be utilizing this paper. So just a sneak peek today. We will have more for you tomorrow. All right, so let's talk about the cards that we're making today. We are going to be utilizing the Thankful Garden bundle. It is a photopolymer stamp set, and then your dies. Excuse me. And then I'm also pairing it with the lovely Garden Designer Series paper. Look at this Designer Series paper. Beautiful, beautiful flowers. If you like the florals, this is a fun paper to have. The back sides are more, I call side B. They're a little bit more laid back. We've got stripes and plaids and dots and leaves that you can color. But today's cards are going to be pairing this bundle, which also includes, let me see if I can grab it. I've got a lot of stuff over here. Also includes some masks. So these masks are called, my things are slowing down. I hope you guys can see because I'm not seeing in the camera that things are moving along. So it looks like I'm frozen. Sorry about that, guys. Bad internet day, but these are the Thankful Garden decorative masks. And we're gonna be utilizing these today to create our cards. So let's look at the cards. This is card number 1. I've utilized the Designer Series paper. We've done some masking here. I'm utilizing the nested essential dies to create my tags. This is another one that we're utilizing. We're going to be doing some masking here, and I use the Everyday Arches. If you haven't seen these Everyday Arches, it comes with obviously stamps as a bundle because I always get the bundles. But look at these dies. These dies are incredible, and there's so many of them. I use them all the time, so this is going to become a staple in my studio. But I use the Everyday Arches on this one, so we'll be creating this one. And then we've got this one that instead of using the masks, we're gonna go ahead and color with our Stampin' Blends. But we've got a fun little technique that we're gonna be utilizing with this one. So let's get started with this one. And I'm gonna bring that kit in. Let me pull it out. We're working with fresh freesia. And I'm gonna go over, I need to turn my comments back on. Oh, Diana, so good to see you. Looks like the sun is out in Canada. It is, but it's kind of cloudy too. But, oh, good. I'm so happy you got your package. Okay, fresh freesia, we've got a layer of basic black. We've got a layer of our designer series paper. And then I have die cut some of the leaves from the set. We've got lots of fun leaves in here that I've gone ahead and die cut. And then we've got our little label that, of course, I die cut from our Nested Essentials set. I'm just looking here to make sure I'm telling you right. Yes, Nested Essentials. So let's go ahead. Let me see. Do I have an extra? I've got some extra card stock here, because I need to create my little flower. So I had some extra here. 1 second, guys. Let me run over here and grab some. Right here. We are going to stamp this little flower, and then we're going to do some masking with it. I'm going to use the Fresh Freesia ink for this. And the stamp actually is right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and ink this up in my Memento Black ink. And I don't need to necessarily ink up the whole thing because I'm not using the whole thing. And I'm going to be die cutting. So I'm just going to make sure I get good connection here. And then because this is a photopolymer stamp, I'm going to bring in my silicone mat just to give me a little bit of cushion. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp this flower right here. Okay, once I've got that, now what I want to do is I want to start masking. So let me go ahead and get the ink off of here, just so that I don't get my hands in it, because you know I'm pretty messy. I don't mean to be, but it just happens. But that's what crafters do. You know, they just kind of get ink on them. All right, so here's our flower, and I'm going to bring the masks in, and I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do this. So for this one, we're actually going to, and I'm going to move this stuff out of the way so we can do some masking. Here are our masks, and they come with little notches at the top, and they have numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're just going to be using 1 and 2 for this particular flower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this lined up on my, and I'm going to actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of take this down because I'm working on my glass mat, which is great, but I don't want my, layer to move, so that I can get this set up. So I'm going to get this lined up, and you can see now that it's lined up. So here's our little notch here. So I'm going to take, you can take whatever you want to. You can take a marker. I've got a little chalk marker, and I'm just going to make a little V here. And then that way, when I bring my next layer in, I will just line up that V here, and my layers will line up. So I can go ahead and put this down, and I'm going to be utilizing the Fresh Freesia as I mentioned. I use brushes in the same color family, if you will. So this blending brush is more of my pinks, and I always start with the lighter color first. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring my napkin or paper towel in. Whenever I'm cleaning these off, I don't put them in water. I just move them along to make sure that they're cleaned off. Looks like I'm slowing down again, guys. I'm so sorry. We've got a bad connection today. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and line this up again with my notch. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab some ink. And I'm actually going to tap it off because I want to go light. I'm only going to use these two colors. And so I want to go light. So actually this is sliding around. So to help us out, I've got it lined up with this notch here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some tape up here just to kind of hold that in place. Now what I can do is I can take my color. I'm starting off the flower, starting on the mat, and then getting my color down, okay? Now what I'll do is I'm gonna lift this up, and I'm not gonna worry about cleaning it at this point in time. I'll do that here in just a second, and I can use a baby wipe on it. But I'm gonna bring in my next one, and remember we've got this little notch down here, so I can line up my number 2 mask with this notch, and now let's get it lined up. Take this tape, and I'm just double checking everywhere to make sure I've done good, and I'll put it up here. Now what I want to do, because I'm using the same fresh freesia, I want dark though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on, and it's going to go on a little bit darker, and I'll probably do several layers of it. So I'm going to run this through my cut and emboss. We'll use this as scrap. I'm going to bring my cut and emboss in, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut out this flower. So let me bring my plates in, and then we can go ahead and start to put this together. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll be doing some more masking. So if the masking didn't come through because it was frozen, we'll do it again. All right, moving stuff out of the way. All right, here we go. So now we have our flower. Isn't that pretty? I love the masking technique. All right, let me save these because I'll use these again. And I'm going to bring in the card pieces again. Oh, we do have some stamping that we still have to do. So we need to stamp on this label. I'm going to bring my silicone mat back in, and we are going to stamp "Thankful for You, Friend." And we are going to do this in our tuxedo black ink. So let me go ahead and get this inked up. Good coverage. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna move it over to the side just a little bit because part of this tag is gonna be hidden under the flower. So let's go ahead and get this down. Get a good transfer of the ink. There we go, that looks great. And then I'm gonna bring my chamois in so that I can clean that stamp off. And then we'll bring in the rest of the pieces to create this card. All right, so we've got our fresh freesia card base. Let's go ahead and get this folded. Okay. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna mount our designer series paper on our black cardstock. So let's go ahead and get that done. And I've got one more thing I want to do to this flower as I'm looking at it. So I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, so we've got this. Everything looks good. I'm glad we're not freezing up again. All right, so let's get this down, and I'm going to pick it up and just kind of shimmy it around so that I make sure I get it centered the way that I want it centered. Let's go this way a little bit. Okay, that looks good. See these little spots in the middle of these flowers? I want to do the same thing with this one. And this stamp set actually comes with some of these. So I am going to take my Memento Black, and let's go ahead and stamp those on. Let me see, which way do I want it to go? Maybe this way. So stamp. There we go. Okay, we've got those. Let me clean that stamp off real quick. Okay, So we've got a couple things we can do. You know, and I'm always changing things up. So we can start building this card, but I think what I want to do this time around is I want to actually pop up this layer on my last one. Oh, you haven't tried using masks yet? Oh, Diana, wait till you see the next card. Sorry, I feel like a squirrel, but I love when you comment. Anyway, we're going to put this up with dimensionals, and then we'll start finished building. So I'm going to actually, I've got these edges that I've been working on. So I'm going to go ahead and clip off these edges, and that will be help me with this. So I use all parts of my dimensionals. So that includes the edges as well. So we'll put that one down. And let me see, I've got one here. So we'll go ahead and put it right here. And then let me see, I've got another edge. We're just gonna use all the edges this time around. So I've got this one, pulling it, turn it around. Okay, and then one more, and then of course I'm gonna have to put something in the middle, right? Because I don't like middle sag. And I feel like I've got my edges all done up really well, and then my middle sags, and I don't like that. So we're gonna clip this, and I'm gonna put this one here, and then we're gonna use this one for my middle. So now I don't have middle sag. So let's go ahead and let's get that adhered. So I'm gonna pull these off, and because I wanna get this centered in the middle of this card, and because I'm just challenged when it comes to centering in the middle of cards, I am going to do my little trick that I do, and that is I just put glue along my edges to kind of help let it slip and slide a little bit. It doesn't have anything to do with the fact that these dimensionals aren't sticky, because they're incredibly sticky actually. But I need to be able to move this around just a little bit so that I can get it centered appropriately. And so I try to put a little bit of glue on the back that gives me a little bit of wiggle room. And they still, because I didn't put it over everything, they still stick a little bit, but it allows me to take it up also. All right, so we've got that. So that is now popped up. Now what we'll do is we will put our label down, and the label also is going to be popped up. So let me bring these dimensionals in, and we'll put one here, and here, here, and here. I think that'll be good. So let's go ahead and get the backs off, and I'm looking for my take your pick. I use my take your pick to take the backs off, usually. There we go. Put this off to the side. Now what I can do is I can center this in the middle, and I'm just gonna go with it. This one, I've got a little bit more, I don't know, flexibility with this one, I think. So I'm gonna lay that down, and now what we're gonna do is we've got, did I have it? Here it is. We've got my little greenery. I'll bring this back up. That's gonna go behind the flower, and basically what I'm gonna do is I'm going to place it down on my card like this. I think it's a little big though, so I'm just gonna trim off the bottom, just a little bit too much. So I'm gonna trim this off. There we go. And now it will fit a lot better for my liking. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna place this probably right about here. So I just need a little bit of glue on these ends, like right here and here. The rest of it's going to be falling off the card, so, or the tag, so I don't really need to have glue on those. So we've got this. I'm going to hold this for just a second. Oh, you know what I didn't do? All right, let's figure out how we want to do this. I'm going to go ahead. We're going to do this a little bit differently. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put dimensionals on my flower as well. Okay. Whoops. Here we go. So now this flower is going to go obviously over our leaves. So I'm going to kind of set this up about right here, I think, because I definitely want those leaves showing through. So now I've got my flower, but I also wanted to use the ribbon that we've got, and this is called Fresh Freesia, and we're using Fresh Freesia ribbon. Now, what I had done initially, and I'll show you here in just, well, I'll show you now. What I had done initially is I just kind of woven it back behind everything. Since I didn't get that done, I think I'm still a little flustered from having to start over again. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a bow with this, and we're just gonna have a bow. So I need to play with it just a little bit. It's a nice fuzzy velvety kind of ribbon, but it definitely is only one-sided. So I've got to play with this so that my velvet continues to show towards the front, right? So I'm going to do some twisting around here till I get it set up the way that I need it to be. And it's just managing it just a little bit. Let's twist this one, or maybe it needs to go this way. We're gonna get there, we're gonna get there. Let's see, maybe if I turn it this way. Just gotta get this one side turned. That looks good. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my ribbon snips and I'm gonna trim that, and I'm gonna trim this, and we'll trim it up here a little bit better. But basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tuck it in right underneath here. The fun part about ribbon is you can use it anywhere. And so I'm going to get myself a little glue dot, use my take your pick, and I'm gonna place it right about here in this little, where the flower kind of peeks up. I'm gonna give it another one just to be on the safe side. Make sure I get plenty of glue dot down there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this back up again, make sure I have it the way that I want it. Okay, check the other side. I don't think the other side's gonna work. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put this in right about here. Okay, so now we've got a pretty little flower, or a pretty little bow right for here. So this card is just a little bit different than the last card, but I love shaking them up a little bit. This one, we put the layer straight on the card base. This one, we popped it up so there's a little bit more dimension. And then instead of looping the ribbon here, we actually tied a bow. And now what I want to do, last but not least, I'm going to bring in my starburst sequins. And these starburst sequins are, this is crushed curry, we've got fresh freesia, and then we've got white. So we're gonna use these to do the last part of the decorating on this. I'm gonna do a big and a little here, and then I'm gonna take another big one and I'm gonna put it down here. Move this out of the way. And now we have card number 1. How pretty is that? You guys ready for card number 2? All right, let's bring that one in, and we are going to do some more masking. So let me bring in the kit for this one. We have our basic white card base. I have some designer series paper. We're using the B side, if you will, for this, the designer series paper. I've got a piece of scrap that we're going to do the masking on. I also have a piece of, this is Petunia Pop. I actually did this card in Moody Mauve, but guess what? Moody Mauve is not available to us anymore. Moody Mauve was the older. I like the black border too, absolutely. Thank you, Diana. The Moody Mauve is no longer available to us, so I didn't think that it was right that I create the card with Moody Mauve. So we're gonna do Petunia Pop, and we're gonna actually use Petunia Pop for our colors as well. And I have another leaf that I cut out of Mossy Meadow, and then I should have one more piece of scrap in here that we're gonna do our sentiment on. So let's go ahead and let's get our sentiment stamped first. We'll get that out of the way, and then I'll show you a different technique for using your masks. So this time what we're going to do is we're going to stamp You Make a Difference. We're going to use the Memento Black ink again. So let me go ahead and just get this inked up. And then I'm going to pull this down so I can see. Hopefully you don't get my head. But I need to kind of get this lined up. And then we'll stamp that down. Get a good connection. And there we go. That's good. Yay. Okay, let's clean this off. And we're going to start masking, which is so, so fun and so pretty. And we're going to use different colors this time. So this is going to be a new one for me. Okay, let me move this out of the way. What I want to do is I want to bring in my Stamparatus. Now, this tool obviously is no longer available with Stampin' Up. If you were lucky enough to get it while Stampin' Up had it, I use this all the time. You can use any stamp positioner, or mostly what I'm interested in is I'm interested in this corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to put it in the corner. And then when I bring the masks in, let me find the masks, they're here. Here are the masks. Then what I can do is I can set my mask up and it's in the corner as well. So now it's in place. I don't have to worry about this little notch and taping things down. I can just use this. And then the same thing will happen. I'll lay this on top and so on and so forth. So we've got a lot of masking to do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in a different brush. This is more pinky. And remember, I keep my blending brushes in color families. So I use several different colors at the same time. But what I'm going to do is I always start out with my lightest color first. So this particular flower, we're going to use Bubble Bath ink and we're going to use Petunia Pop ink. So I'm going to set the Petunia Pop off to the side because we're going to start out with our main color, and that main color is going to be Bubble Bath. So I'm going to set this here, get this inked up. There's two things you can do. You can tap off on your glass mat if you're using it. I've got this pushed down into the corner, and I'm just going to start off and I'm going to start inking here. And I'm just going to get that light color down. I could add more if I wanted to, but I really don't want it to be too terribly dark. So here we go. We've got our first layer, right? Now, if you wanted to, I'm going to set this off to the side. Those clean up very, very easily. The next layer is going to be in Petunia Pop, and this is going to be a light layer of Petunia Pop. And what I could do is I could bring my napkin in or my paper towel in and wipe off the Bubble Bath that we used. You can see there's not very much of it, and it's a pink color. So now I'm going to go into my Petunia Pop. I'm going to pull my next, where did I put my masks? Right here. I'm going to pull my next mat in, and it's going to line right up because everything's right in the corner. So I don't have to worry again about any tape or anything. And again, you don't necessarily have to use a stamp positioner. If you've got a tool that has a corner to it and you've got room, use that. All right, so I'm going to stamp this or tap this off just a little bit. I want a lighter color to start. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this blended down. And we're just going in circles. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but you can see, look how pretty that's starting to look. Oh my goodness. I'm actually liking this Petunia Pop. All right, I'm going to still use Petunia Pop, but I'm bringing in the next mask. And again, let me get this piece of tape off that we used for the last card. My notch is going up here. It fits right in place. So easy, so easy. Now I really want a darker color of this. So I may go over this a couple times if I need to, because I want it to be dark. So the good news is that looks pretty dark to me, but I can lift this up and I can look at it, and if it's not dark enough for me, I could add more. It is dark enough, but if I wanted to add more, everything's in the corner. So easy peasy, you can get it back down again. But we're good. So I'm going to set these off to the side, and now we're going to bring in the next mask. I'm going to put my brush off to the side, and a lot of times, and I'll do this off camera, but I'm going to show you what I do. After I finish, before I put my brushes away, I do wipe my brushes off again. So I try to get as much ink off as I possibly can so that the next time I get ready to use them, there's very little ink, if any, on it. All right, next mask. This was going to be mask number 4. So I'm gonna lay it right here in the corner. Guess what, guys? We are going to do our leaves. So let me, just so that I don't get my hands in this, I'm gonna wipe this ink off here. And I'm gonna bring in, what color are we going to use? I am going to bring in, I think we're gonna start with a really light color. We're gonna start with soft seafoam. This is really light. All right, we're gonna have some contrast here. So here's my brush with my green, and I'm gonna go ahead and get this inked up, tap it off. Everything's in the corner, so now I can just start inking. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my light ink on, my light green on. Get a good coating of it. Okay, happy with that. So pretty, right? Okay, let's move into the next color. And we are going to use garden green. So I'm gonna move this mask out of the way. I'm gonna bring this mask in, up at the top, and it lines up perfectly. Everything's right in the corner. And because I was using green, I don't need to worry about my brush. I'm gonna bring in my darker green now. Tap that off. It's a lot brighter, and we're gonna start adding that color. And I'm just doing little circles. Very dark. Okay. So pretty, right? Okay, let's clean this up, and now I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do next. So you could go with it just like this. But what I'm gonna do, let me just take a little bit of this off. I gotta get this out of the way here. And then we'll take some of this off the brush because it was a dark green. Just a little bit. I'm gonna do more cleaning. I just want to get it off so that I don't get my hands in it. All right, so now we've got this piece. But we do have a stamp. Remember, we've got this stamp that we can utilize. And I really, really like the detail that the stamp provides. So what I can do now is I can come in with my stamp and I can get it lined up with my masking. Get that lined up. I've got my stamp positioner, so I'm just gonna pick that up. I'm gonna keep my piece in the corner. I can add magnets to it if I choose to. I'm gonna double check again to make sure I've got this lined up the way that I want it. And I'm just looking. Yeah, I think I do. So now we can take the Memento Black ink, ink this up. And if you don't have a stamp positioner, you can still do this. Just put it on your stamp block. I just like the positioner because that way if I don't get it dark enough the first time, I can ink it up again and do it several times. But we'll see where we're at with this. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this up. And I've got this little tool that I use. You can use an eraser if you choose to. This just helps me to give a little bit of pressure to it. If you don't have one of those, you can do this. But I'm gonna lift that up and look at that detail. Oh my goodness. How pretty is that? So excited. I get excited every time I do this. I hope you guys are getting excited with me. Okay, so let's go ahead and clean off the stamp. I can bring the chamois in. We're just gonna go ahead and get this cleaned off real quickly. And the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna cut out this flower. So let me move this stuff out of the way. And let me see, move this over here, take this out. Look at this, guys. Look how pretty that is. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let me move that out of the way. I need to get my die, which is in my stamp set, which is right here. So we'll go ahead and get this piece out. Is this the right one? I think it is. Is it the right one? Where's my die? Is that the right one? It is. I had it upside down. All right, let's get this lined up, and we're gonna cut this out. So, got that. We got this one over here, minus the ribbon. I'm gonna try to put it through. I may have to trim it down just a little bit. I think it's gonna be a little wide. Oh, Oh, it's gonna fit. Yay. Okay, let's get this on here, and then I can use my mini cut and emboss. So we'll go ahead and get this in, get this down, and then I'm gonna crank it through. Don't you think so, Diana? We can do it without the detail, but oh my gosh, the detail just, I don't know, makes the flower pop. It's kind of like the black cardstock underneath the designer series paper. All right, let's move this out of the way. And now we have our flower. So, so pretty. So let's create the card. So I'm gonna bring my base back in, and let me see. I'm gonna put that on the inside. So we're gonna fold this over and burnish. Okay. And then we're gonna take our designer series paper and we're going to adhere our designer series paper to it. It's kind of a shame to cover up this pretty paper, isn't it? That's the only bad thing about two-sided paper. I love two-sided paper, but you know what? What if you love both sides? You don't wanna cover one side up. It's hard. All right, let's get this lined up. Okay, like so. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take, and let me think about this. We're gonna put the petunia pop, look how bright that is. And we're gonna put this on top. Now, I have two choices. I think I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna put this down. I popped it up last time. This time I'm gonna put it down straight and I'm gonna pop up my flower. Just because I can, because I like to be different. All right, so let's go ahead and get this centered up. Let's see, bring this down just a tad. Let's slide it over this way a little bit. The lines on my paper aren't necessarily straight, so I can't really utilize those to help me guide. Okay, we're gonna go with that. Now let's go ahead and let's put some dimensionals. Let me find the dimensionals. We're gonna put the dimensionals on the backs of the flower. So let's go ahead and do that. Oops. Oh, that was just a back. There we go. This one pulled off. Okay, we'll put one down here, one over here. These guys are kind of sticking to each other. One here, and let me see, I had the little ones here. I was using those. Where are they? Little dimensionals, where are you? I wanted to put a little one right here, but I don't know where they're at right at the moment. So, you know they're here because I just used them, but we'll put another one right here. Okay, let's take the backs off. That one's already got it off. Here's one here. These two. Oops. There we go. And I think I got them all off. I'm gonna look to see all the shiny sides are up. Yep. Oh, so pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get my flower placed right about there. And then we're gonna take this one and we're gonna put it over the top of it. So we're gonna have some green, like kind of, I don't wanna say clashes, but we've got a variety of different greens on this flower. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue here. And then let's see, get this lined up the way that I want. Maybe like this. This one's gonna need a little dimensional. See, I need to find those little dimensionals because this one's hanging off. All right, I know you're here. All right, let's go. I got some more. Here's some. What I want to do is this little leaf is hanging off, and so I don't want it just drooping. So I'm going to take a little dimensional and I'm going to place it right on the back there. And then what I can do is pop him down and he's got some support. And then I'm going to take, when you need to put some, I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper. Do I have a piece of scrap? When you need to put glue behind your pieces, but you've got your piece down, but you didn't know where your glue was going to be needed, what I do is I take a piece of scrap and I just add a little bit of glue to it. And then what I can do is I can take it underneath where I want to glue that down, and no mess, right? No mess. So we've got that glue down. Okay, so we've got that piece on. Next, what we need to do is we need to take our sentiment and we're going to go right across with the sentiment. I've got, let me see, I'll do it this way. So I've got a dimensional here and a dimensional here, and then we'll let it kind of straddle in the middle, the flower. So let's go ahead and get the backs off here. And I think this is gonna work. So we've got dimensional here. I'm gonna make sure this dimensional is just off. So I'm gonna line it up there. We've got it there. And now we've got our sentiment, yay. And then the last thing is we've got to put some bling on it. So I'm gonna bring back out our, they're called sequin or burst sequins. Now, I was using Petunia Pop, I was using Moody Mauve. And now this is Fresh Freesia. These are Fresh Freesia. This is Petunia Pop. Let me see. Petunia Pop might, yeah, it does. It works much, much better. It was kind of a little bright for the Moody Mauve, but it's actually working for this. I was going to do white if that didn't work, but I really like this. So here we go. And just like that, card number 3 is done. How pretty is that? I just love this card. So pretty. And I love the masking technique. All right, last card. Fun little technique on this one. So here's what it looks like. We're going to bring out the basic white for our card base. I've got some of our designer series paper. We're going to use the black and white side. We're also going to be cutting or stamping and coloring actually our flowers this time. And then I've got a label that we are going to stamp as well. So let's go ahead and get the label and the flower stamped first. Bring back in my silicone mat. And this one is also going to be a thankful for you sentiment. So let's go ahead and get that inked up. Okay, thankful for you, friend. Okay, so I'm going to bring this over. Let's see, I'm not going to go clear to the end because I'm going to be cutting this off. But we're going to go a little bit to the end. Hopefully I got that straight. Good enough. Good, good, good. Okay, let's clean this off. And then we'll go ahead and I have to pull. Well, you know what? Let's do this. I could pull this off and put it on a block again. But since it's already on my stamp positioner, I'm just going to go ahead and use it that way because we're going to cut it out again. So, wasn't the plan. I could have put it on a block, but it's already here. So we're just going to go ahead and use it. So let me go ahead and get this inked up. And make sure I get a good coverage. If I don't, because it is on the stamp positioner, if I want it a little bit darker, I can go ahead and do that. So let me take this tool. Just helps me make sure I get everything pressed down. And I do need it to be a little bit darker. It didn't take so well right here on these leaves on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and ink those back up again. And we're going to do it again. Hence, the value of the stamp positioner. There's all kinds of stamp positioners out there. There you go. Looks much, much better. So let's go ahead and pull this out. I'll use my chamois, easy enough to pull out, and go ahead and get this wiped off. And then we'll move this off to the side. All right. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm actually going to color it. And I'm going to try to do this fairly quickly because it is a big piece. But I want to show you that if you don't have the masks or you don't want to do any masking, you can use your Stampin' Blends to color your flower, or you could actually use ink to color your flower as well. So let's go ahead and this is Daffodil Delight. I'm using the light Daffodil Delight, and I'm literally just gonna go as fast as I can while remaining neat. I'm gonna color in this entire flower, because basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the dark to help to accent it. So let me get this. In fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch over. I can tell these are kind of going a little dry. So let me switch this over, and I'm gonna use my brush tip. And yeah, my markers are getting a little dry, so I may have to pull the other one out. Yeah, I don't have any more of the Daffodil Delight. Daffodil Delight is one of my go-to colors for yellows, so I'm not surprised that with all the use it gets, that it's starting to get a little bit light. But hopefully I can get through this flower at least, so that you can see how pretty it's going to be. And again, I just want the main part of the flower to be light, a light yellow anyway. So I'm literally just kind of coloring it in as best I can. All right, so we've got that. So let's go ahead and take the dark now. And we're gonna use the dark, I like the bullet tip. We're gonna use the dark to kind of do some highlighting. So I'm gonna bring in some color here with these edges. I'm going to go along the edge here, along here, here. Anywhere that there's some lines, I'm going to follow along these lines. And this is similar to what you would be doing if you were using the masks. The masks add that darker color, right? So let's go ahead and we'll get this in. And then before I move on to my bigger one, I'm going to come back in with my lighter, and I'm just going to kind of blend that in a little bit. If you go over it, the ink, and again, mine's a little bit dry, so it may not blend quite like I want it to, but it just kind of helps to soften the edges and blend things in. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move on, and we are going to add more color to this one. So color here, these lines here, lines here, any areas that are a little bit darker, get those, and then I will go along the edges and try to get some of those as well. You know, blending with the Stampin' Blends is really very forgiving. I am not an artist. I'm very crafty, but I'm not an artist. So I love it when I have tools that make me look like I maybe know what I'm doing. All right, so we're gonna stop there, and I'm gonna come back in with this again, and we're just gonna, with what's left, I'm gonna try to blend this in. And then we're going to try to do the same thing with the green, although I know my green. Okay, so we've got that. Pretty. All right, we're going to use Old Olive for the leaves. So I'm going to use the light Old Olive, and we'll get that colored in. I'm using a lighter color than I did on the last card because I felt like the last card was just a little dark. So let's go ahead and get this colored in. And then we'll do the same thing. Basically, after I get this colored in, I'm going to come in with the dark Old Olive, and we're going to add in our accents. Okay. And it doesn't have to be perfect, just enough. But I will tell you that the masking is faster, as you're aware. But if you like to color, and I do like to color, it's a little bit harder. It's not hard to color on camera, but I don't want to bore you guys, you know, spending all my time coloring. But coloring is one of my favorite things to do. All right, so let's take the dark in and let's go ahead and add in some accents. And we'll just go along these lines. Obviously, I'm not trying to be perfect. It's right here. And let's see, maybe a little bit on the stem, just a little bit. I'm gonna kind of go this way. Okay, a little bit here, 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 maybe a little bit there. Okay, all right, good enough for me. I am gonna take this again and we're just gonna go over it to blend it, soften it. The alcohol helps to just soften those colors so that it looks like they're naturally blending versus, hard lines. All right. There we go. Okay, so now we've got this all colored in. Next thing we need to do is we need to cut it out. So I'm going to bring my die back out again, and we'll go ahead and get this down. And then we can start building the card, which is the fun part because we've got another little technique you can use. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. Got this down, we'll bring this back in. Where are my plates? Plates are right here. So our bottom two plates, our top plate, it does fit. Make sure I've got everything in here. And we'll crank it through. Okay, so like that, pull this apart, out of the way. Okay. Oops, there you go. So pretty, right? Okay, so now we're gonna build the card. All right, let's take our card base. We're gonna fold it in half. Now the one thing that I didn't do this time around, didn't get it done, so we're gonna go without it. But basically what I did on this one is you can see I did some embossing. I embossed the front flap. We are not going to emboss the front flap today because I didn't bring my embossing folder over and we're already over time because of my little internet issue. So I'm going to show you how we create this little design here. So you can emboss this if you choose to or leave it plain, but basically once you've done that, you're going to tear this. And what I want you to do is I want you to tear towards yourself, because when you tear towards yourself, let me finish this up. You're going to see that rough edge. Can you see that rough edge with the paper? So we've got a rough edge there. And then if you want to, you can kind of ruffle that rough edge up. Okay. So now you've got this piece left over. What we're going to do is we are actually going to tear again because I want it to be shorter. And I'm going to, again, tear it from the other side towards me, but we're going to tear down towards the bottom. So I'm going to tear off just a couple of inches, inch and a half, a couple of inches. Tear towards you again. Okay, so now we've got this piece, right? This piece you can use as a scrap, but this is going to be the bottom of our card. You're going to take your designer series paper and you're going to adhere it to the inside. Now what I did on the first one, I'll show you, is I basically cut it so that there was just a piece that went over just the center of it, which is fine, but I just wanted a little bit more stability. So what I decided to do is I'm going to lay this one down right here. So what I'm going to do is this piece is cut 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and look at see where my glue needs to come down. And it's going to be right about here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put glue all along here. Okay. And then I can fold this over. Actually, I can come down just a little bit further. I don't have to go down too much further, but I can come down just a little bit further to make sure that we get this glued in right. So here we are. I'm going to glue this piece down. And I want to make sure it gets good and adhered. Okay. So now what we can do is we can take this piece and we're going to glue it down here. Okay. And we've got it set up so that I can adhere this piece, and it's going to be centered. So there's going to be a little bit of a centering here, so you've got white border around it. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to line this up at the bottom, paying attention to where I want the glue to go here. So I'm going to line this up again, and basically my glue is going to go right along here on my designer series paper. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Get this down. Whoops. Here we go. Get my glue there. And then what I can do is I can line this piece up with the edge of my card from the back. Line that up, line that up. We've got this down. And now we have this fun little fault line, if you will. I think they call it a fault line. A fault line here. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do after we've got our fault line, so when this opens up now, you've got a pretty inside, right? Okay, so you've got your fault line. Now what we'll do is we will take our label that we have here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the label, let me see, where do I want to place it? Because I'm just making this card different. Let me see, I'm going to place it probably right about here. But I want it to be on dimensionals. So I'm going to put some dimensionals, like tweezers. We're going to do, this tape just loves me. It keeps sticking to me. All right, so dimensionals here and here. And then I've got another dimensional that I'm going to put right in a little bit because it's going to go, I'm going to trim off an end. So we've got that. So let's go ahead and get our label down. And I'm going to line it up. Let me see, do I want that fault line showing up? I get to figure out where I want my fault line to be. I think I want the bottom showing. So I'm going to do it here. See if that's straight. Like that. And then I'm going to trim off this edge of my tag. I'm going to bring my snips in, and I'm going to try to follow the edge of my card because my fault line goes in a little bit, but we've got the edge of my card here. And now what you can do is you can take your flower, and I'm going to put my flower on dimensionals, and I'm going to rest it on top of my card. So let's go ahead and get some dimensionals there. So top, flower, so pretty. Okay, let's see. I'm just checking it out again. I want it flat on the label because the label's already popped up. So I think I have them everywhere that I need them to be. And then what we're going to do, we'll go ahead and take the backs off. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the rest of it so it will adhere to the label. So let me get these off. And then we'll take our glue. And I'm going to put some glue right here. And we can add glue later with my little trick that I showed you earlier if we missed something. But I'm going to go ahead and put the glue here. And then we'll turn this. And let's see, I want my flower to go right about here. Okay, so pretty. Oh, I love that. Okay, so now what we'll do is we're going to bring in our little sequins again. And this time we're going to use the crushed curry. And we'll put one here and here. Let's see. Do it this way. I love to do my sequins in threes. Whoops. Get that one. Is that the right side? Okay. We've got that. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue right under, where's my little piece that I was using? Right here. Looks like my stem needs to be glued down just a little bit. So we're going to put a little bit of glue there. And I'm going to take it right underneath there. There we go. So that will go down. And that will hold. And there we go. I'm going to move this stuff out of the way so that you guys can see. This is card number 3. How fun was that? All right. So card number 3, we've got here a little bit different than the previous one. Then I'm going to bring in card number 2. How pretty was that one? With all the masking. And then of course we have card number 1. Again, so fun. Had so much fun with these cards. So if you do have any masking, anything that you can use for masking, utilize those because they're so fun. And then, as Diana had mentioned, by the time you stamp in your black for the detail, it just makes it pop, as does the black behind your designer series paper for your cards. So let me come back and just say thank you so much for joining me. I'm so sorry about the little technical issues that I was having. We'll get this fixed so that it looks like a cohesive video for YouTube. But for those of you that were able to join Diana, and if there's others, thank you so much for being here. I love joining you guys on Tuesday afternoon. And don't forget, those of you that won the door prize or the drawings for liking and sharing, that would be Lala Crafts Phyllis and Carol Lindley. Please do reach out to me. And the other 2, I need you to reach out to me, Barbara8932 and Cindy Kai. Please reach out to me. This is your last chance for that, because if I don't hear from you by the end of the week, your gift will go back into the drawing pool. So anyway, thank you again so much. Don't forget to like and share and comment, and I will see you guys next time. Take care, everyone. Bye.